Good evening, sir. A warm welcome to all the August gathering who are here to listen to this talk. At the outset, I wish to thank Dr. Sen Gupta and his team for giving this opportunity to present this topic to all of y'all. To be frank, this topic has always been close to my heart. The reason is we see this kind of episodes in each and every home, the next door, and within our family as well. So it's also a part of our college mission uh, to inculcate the spirit of community service. So today, through Sen Gupta sir, I get this opportunity to serve or give an awareness to the public. So wholeheartedly, thank you so much, sir, for this opportunity. Um, Before I start with my presentation, I would like to put forward a few disclaimer with representation to my profession, which talks about what is that do's and don'ts that needs to be taken care during my presentation. So with your present permission, I start with my presentation. Somehow it is stuck. Yeah. So disclaimer is all about my professional and legal claims. So the information presented today is intended for general health, education, and awareness only. It should not be considered as a substitute for an individualized medical consultation, diagnosis, or treatment plan. As a pharmacist, I can provide guidance on the safe and appropriate use of medicines, medication adherence, potential drug interactions, and general health information. However, I cannot diagnose medical conditions, prescribe medications, or recommend specific treatments without a proper clinical assessment by a qualified healthcare practitioner. Questions related to self-medication, prescription-only medicines, modification of prescribed therapy, or complex cases involving multiple medications will be addressed only in a general educational context. Any personal medication decisions should be made in consultation with your physician and pharmacist after a complete review of your medical history and current treatment. For patient safety and professional ethics, individualized treatment recommendation will not be provided during this session. I'm happy to discuss general principles of medication safety, self-care, and polypharmacy. However, for ethical and legal reasons, I cannot provide personal diagnosis, start or stop medicines, or alter prescribed treatments based on questions asked during the presentation. So this is just my formal request to all of y'all, whenever during my presentation, if there is an exchange of thoughts, difference of opinion, I would be restricting to these disclaimers. So to start with today's topic, when Sir spoke to me about how can I help in terms of certain awareness to the senior citizens, I first thought, why can't we just start with the medicine box, which maybe in terms of first aid kit, what we have it at our home or maybe in our office area. So first, let us understand what is this exactly medicine box intended for. Generally, we see it for home stored medicines, which is generally used and kept for common illness and emergencies. But we also need to think, why do we keep these medicines? Number one, mainly the first aid box or the medicine box is kept for a convenience, quick access during illness, previous prescription, and emergency use. So when we put all these things together, the importance in daily life is definitely to provide an immediate relief, which helps to manage the chronic conditions and support the basic healthcare needs. Now, what is the problem statement here? The title for today's presentation, I have kept whether the medicine box, what I spoke about now, whether it is a friend or a foe for us. So when we talk about these two aspects, there are two things which comes to purpose in during our regular usage of medicines. Number one is self-medication, and the second one is polypharmacy. Now let us understand what exactly is polypharmacy. So polypharmacy is where we have simultaneous use of multiple medicines. When we say multiple medicines, it can be 5 or more, and more common among elderly patients who are mainly with their chronic conditions. When it comes to self-medication, it is using medicines without professional medical advice, commonly which is based on old prescriptions or maybe internet information or pharmacy suggestions. Now, why are these two terms very important for us to understand? This is of high concern. Number one, if we continue to do this practice, we might land up into something called drug-drug interactions. Or there is also possibility where drug-food interaction may occur. Medicines may react with each other. Certain food and drug may react with each other. So in today's my presentation, I'll give you certain examples and we can have a discussion beyond these few interactions and which are the common practices, or we can put it as do's and don'ts of self-medications. Next one is we talk about wrong medication in use, incorrect medication or dosage selection. We depend on our friends' advice or relatives' advice, and we tend to go with the wrong choice of dosage as well as dose. I'll speak more about this on my presentation. Coming to the next one is a major relation is based on these two aspects. Higher risk is seen in senior citizen. The greater chances of side effects and hospitalization is more. Now let's talk one by one. What exactly is polypharmacy? Poly is too many medicines. Now, when we talk about too many medicines, are we really thinking about disease-free life? Or is it a problem statement for us? When we say polypharmacy, we are talking in terms of any person taking 5 or more medicines daily. Especially it is observed in senior citizens where you have complications or you have chronic conditions and you tend to have 5 or more medicines daily. Sometimes, as I mentioned, it may be needed, but sometimes it happens by accidents when we refer to 2 or 3 doctors and they prescribe separately. Like we have a cardiologist, we have an orthopedic. So when you go to 2-3 different doctors, we tend to land up into polypharmacy, and there could be an overdose or there could be certain side effects that could be seen. So why does it really this polypharmacy matters, and what is that we can do about it? So more medicines, possibilities are there, more chances of clashes. When I say clashes here, it could be brand clashes in terms of not knowing what is the actual component, what in pharma we call it as active pharmaceutical ingredient. And the main reason here is the body of the senior citizens to process the drug becomes slow. In the sense, the metabolism rate lowers. Now let's come to the next topic of self-medication. I'm sure all of you all are clear with polypharmacy. Now coming to self-medication, getting into digitalized world, lot of apps, lot of AI tools being used. We have lot of Google doctors, right? Or certain old prescriptions which we tend to pass on to our friends or neighbors or family members. This is of high concern. Taking medicines without asking doctors, using old tablets, friends' medicines, or buying from medical store directly because last time it worked. Please remember here our body tends to change. There could be a lot of changes which is happening over the period. So we need to make sure that old prescriptions are not being referred. There is always a visit to the doctor, especially once in 6 months or at least once a year, for a follow-up and to understand what is the updates on certain dose, or whether there need to be an reduction in the medicine or add-on dose is required or not. For example, let's see a simple painkiller for every ache, be it an headache, stomach ache, knee pain. We are easily available to give advice, be it a simple paracetamol, be it ibuprofen. Right from small child to senior citizen, we keep advising the painkillers. But in pharma world, these painkillers are having different categories. We have inflammatory, anti-inflammatory drugs, even your narcotic drugs, which is generally given in the extreme cases of cancer, like people might be aware about morphine, codeine. These are also a kind of painkillers, but the intensity of painkillers are different. So I would prefer if the painkillers are not being suggested or self-taken, because painkillers are again of different categories. Now coming to antibiotic. Now, whenever we have a simple fever, okay, people tend to go on with antibiotics, but we need to really understand whether it is is it a viral conditions, because if it is a viral condition, then you need to treat it with an antiviral and not antibiotic. So one has to understand, what are we self-medicating? Are we taking an antibiotic for a certain bacterial infections, or are we taking antibiotic for viral infection? So self-medication is again a big no in certain conditions. Sleeping pill from neighbor. Now, even this is the major reason where we see that there are a lot of side effects and dizziness, and call for the hospital has been seen, because you tend to self-medicate, taking help from your neighbors or from your relatives for an immediate relief. Acidity tablets taken daily. Now, this is also commonly seen, which has to be stopped. And I'll tell you the reason with certain case studies in my coming up slides. Now, why does it happen? So, first of all, when we talk about polypharmacy and self-medication, let us see why. Why do we tend to go with such kind of practices? So the first one is easy availability of medicines, right? Many medicines can be purchased easily, especially unfortunately, even in India, we go to the medical stores, yeah, over the counter, there are few medicines, or even if you are familiar with the pharmacist, they tend to give as per your recommendation. So this is something which needs to be taken care. Even the pharmacist at the stores need to study your prescription and understand for what purpose are they delivering the medicines to you. Second one is reuse of old prescription. People often use previous prescription without current medical evaluation. This happens. Most of the senior citizens, they feel that they are a mini doctor because they have been taking care of their health since past 15 or 20 years. There is nothing new in the market. They feel that they'll be able to self-medicate themselves without meeting the doctor. What will doctor give? He will ask the same old question. He will tell the same thing. He will do your dose up and down. Yes, no doubt about it. But he's the right person to understand your regular activities, whether it has slowed down. He will be diagnosing certain conditions when you go and meet. So I would request not to use any old prescription. Visit your doctor at least once in 6 months. The third reason here is internet and social media advice. A big no and very careful situation. Health information online may not always be reliable and suitable. This is something which commonly we do it because it's always at our fingertip. This is something which we need to avoid, because a simple headache, if you tend to type in an AI tool, it will directly take you to brain cancer. So such kind of internet data will give you a wrong advice. So you would not be in the right situation to understand the clinical assessment. So an advice from the doctor and the pharmacist becomes very, very important. Maybe you can write down your queries, and when you meet the doctor, you can openly have a discussion. This is what you read in the internet, and you can ask few questions. Even the type of questions, I'll be showing it to you all in my coming slide. The fourth point is advice from friends or pharmacy staff. Recommendation from non-medical sources can also lead to inappropriate medicinal use. Lack of doctor consultation. Skipping professional consultation increases the risk of incorrect treatment. So having said that, all these 5 pointers becomes very, very important, because at the end, it results either for self-medication or a polypharmacy, which will lead to drug-related risk. So just to support my presentation, I would like you all to focus here on certain technical aspects. I will not go more deeper, but for you to understand what exactly happens in our biology. That is what happens. Like, for example, I'm showing here on the y-axis, the drug plasma concentration. That means the amount of the drug that reaches into your systemic circulation. And on x-axis, I have my time interval. So let's take the first graph, which I'm pointing here on my slide, which has got multiple valleys, right? So, and the peaks. So here, if you see, we are talking about a conventional dosage form. Like, for example, if I have got a fever today, assume that at 10 o'clock a.m., I take a crocin. So what happens is, over a period of 4 hours, my drug starts getting absorbed in the bloodstream, and it gets metabolized and get absorbed in the blood, and it gets eliminated from the body. So by the time it gets eliminated, I'm down here where there is a requirement of another dose after 4 hours. So when you are in the peak fever stage, there could be a chance where you tend to take a paracetamol every 4 to 6 hours. So this graph shows that there is a multiple dosing required. Now, if you see this dotted line, which is running parallel, and I have named this as therapeutic dose, therapeutic range. Now, what is this therapeutic range? Now, therapeutic range is, in case if I'm talking about fever and I'm giving paracetamol, the effect, that means my paracetamol needs to reduce my pain as well as fever. So the dose required should be within this therapeutic window. We call this as therapeutic window. So whenever the dose goes high beyond this dotted line, we call it as minimum safe concentration. So all these are my toxic level. I hope this is clear. So below this, it is minimum effective concentration. So this is very important, because the reason why I'm showing this graph is, we tend to say that, oh, we have forgotten to take my morning dose. Okay, let me take another dose at 11 o'clock. Okay, I take, instead of 10, I take a dose at 11, and immediately I take at 1. So what happens is, it overlaps my dose and it shoots up my therapeutic range, and it might go to toxic level. So when I say toxic level, the toxicity can be acting differently. It might be in terms of certain side effects. Okay, so depending on how potent is the drug, it might show is different type of toxicity observation. So similarly, if I try to break my dose, like say suppose now you have paracetamol coming in Dolo, which is 650 mg, and Crocin Calpol coming in 500 mg. So say suppose if I say that, oh, I have slight fever, let me break my tablet into half. Okay, depending on the body type, the weight, my dose might not be sufficient. So it might not reach my therapeutic dose or the range, and it might just be below my therapeutic minimum effective concentration. So the reason why we say not to go for self-medication is we might not work within this therapeutic range. So this is what I was talking about. I have onset of action, and this is the maximum time it takes to reach my bloodstream, and this is my maximum concentration of the drug. So when I'm giving any dose, my dose should be in this therapeutic range. If it is below this, then it will not be effective. If it goes above this, it might be toxic. So this is general a graph representation of a conventional dosage form. Now, if you see in the market, you will read your tablets or your medications with an alphabets like SR, ER, DR, or PR. Now, if you ask me this question, what does that signify? Now, that signifies certain terminology which has added certain advanced technology in formulation development. For example, if I say sustained release, can you see this graph which I have shown, sustained release formulation? So this is where it is there in my therapeutic window, but it sustains the activity. Am I audible? Am I clear here?
Yeah, please go.
Yeah. So what happens here is, so sustained release is a dosage form where we do not have to take multiple dose. For example, if you see my conventional graph, I've been taking 2 doses here. But when I'm taking my sustained release, I am okay to have one tablet which gets sustained for 8 hours. So my dosing frequency reduces. Okay, there is also something called controlled release, which you can say one-time dose and it is there in my body for longer period of time. So in pharmaceutical industry, there are n number of advanced technology which we use, which is there in the market with different type of technology which is available. So for example, I have taken a diabetic dosage form here, which most of y'all who are diabetic, they would be taking in. Now, what is the difference between this gluconorm SR 500 mg and a combination of these 2 drugs? Like if you see here, there are 2 medications here. So you see that one color is pink and one is white. Now, these are bilayer tablet, which has a technology where the first pink layer goes as an immediate release and the white color goes as a sustained release. So that's the reason why in the tablet we have SR. Similarly, XR is for the extended release. So in the market, we have such kind of different technology. So the reason why I'm sharing here is when you take any recommendation from your friend, these are certain things which you have to observe, because if it is an immediate release and you are overtaking another dose for the tablet as sustained release, you might overdose your medication. So these are few things which you need to take care, because if you are not able to understand the prescription, you got to consult your doctor and the pharmacist before you change or before you take an advice from your family members or your friends. Now, talking about risk and side effects. As I already discussed, majorly we will be seeing drug-drug interaction, because most of the time we will see a combination of people who are diabetic, would also have heart issues, maybe they might be having pressure issues or cholesterols or certain kidney issues. So we need to be very, very clear in what is that medications that are being prescribed by the doctors, and are we actually taking all together, or are we taking it with milk? Are we taking with empty stomach? Because when doctors prescribe certain prescriptions, they do mention it half an hour before meal or before food, or not to be taken along with milk, etc. So this needs to be taken care. Wrong dosage form. Taking too much or too little medicines can lead to treatment failure or toxicity. So as I mentioned to you about anti-diabetic drugs. So when you take that medicines, when you talk to your friends and okay, this molecule has worked for me, this has worked for me. When you combined XYZ medications, chances are there where you might land up into hypoglycemic conditions. Or maybe if you're taking a painkiller with the BP and certain herbal formulations as a supplements, there could be certain bleeding seen in the stomach. There could be a kidney damage occurring when you use misuse certain medicines. So these are few aspects which you need to take care. Excessive use of painkillers, okay, over the dose might damage your liver as well. So hospitalization becomes a risk. So serious medication related to problems may require medical treatment or hospitalization. So the 4 big dangers. Use the ABC. For example, A, adverse drug reactions. This may look for dizziness, a fall, or a confusion. Bad interactions, BP tablet, as I mentioned, plus painkillers might give you kidney damage. Blood thinner and painkillers, as I mentioned, it might give you a bleeding. C is cost and confusion, buying unnecessary medicines, forgetting which tablet when, taking same drug with 2 different names might be very confusion, and you might land up into overdose or underdose as well. D, disease hidden. Antibiotic for viral fever delays right treatment. Painkillers hides heart attack pain. So these are 4 things which you need to take care. Now there are certain golden rule which I would put up like brown bag reviews. For once every 6 months, put all your tablets, syrups, Ayurvedic, homeopathy, vitamins, or any kind of supplements in one bag. Take to your pharmacist or doctors. They will check with what's extra. When I say we will, it talks about the pharmacist, and this is very, very important. The reason why I'm mentioning this is 40% of the seniors take at least 1 unnecessary medicines, especially with the fear. They take a lot of supplements, especially the vitamins or the calciums or any kind of Ayurvedic supplements. So this needs to be taken care. So this needs to have a thorough check with the doctors or the pharmacists, and they can de-prescribe safely. Questions to ask before taking any medicines. So first, ask at your medical store or to the doctor. These are important questions which I would want each one of you all to make a point of this, so that we make the better use and use medicine as a friend. What is this medicine for? Why do I need it to administer now? How long should I take? What are the side effects to watch? can it clash with my other tablets? So whenever you meet the doctor, make sure that you ask all these questions to him, because these are very, very important, which we generally hesitate to ask the doctor. We come back home, we see the side effects, and they are not reachable easily, and we have to tolerate with all those pain and adverse events, and then we go to the worst conditions to get them back. Red flag medicines for seniors, which needs to have an extra carefulness. Sleeping pills or anxiety tablets. Okay, these are few examples which may have certain falls or memory loss. So these need to be taken with precautions. Strong painkillers, diclofenac, combiflam daily, like especially to avoid pain. This might land up into kidney issues, stomach bleed, etc. Antibiotic without test, this might increase certain resistance, because I mentioned to you, you would not be aware whether it is an viral infection or bacterial infections, then you might land up into resistance. Next time when there is a need of that antibiotic, it might not work at all. Diabetics in combination with the BP medicines, never stop suddenly, never double the dose if missed, because this is again going to be affected. Your blood thinner or certain aspects might be taking a big side effects there. Major rule which I want all of you all to observe when you pick up your medicine is Schedule H, H1X. These are a certain category of medicines which are not to be purchased without doctor's prescriptions, and Schedule X is for the narcotic drugs. So these are not to be prescribed with the old prescriptions. You need to meet the doctor and take a fresh ones. Safe self-care. What can you do without doctor? Now, when I say okay, what minimal attention, what you can do, what we talk in terms of OTC is paracetamol, 1 to 2 tablets for fever, ORS for certain loose motions or electrolytes, antacid gel for 2 or 3 days, steam for cold. Not okay to take antibiotics, steroids, BP, diabetes, sleep medicines using old prescriptions more than 3 months, not advisable. Better to call your pharmacist, because they are the medicine experts. Consultation is free. So always go with the rule, 1 doctor, 1 pharmacist. It's always advisable, because having 1 family doctor and 1 pharmacist, they know your history, they know your records, they have all your medicinal record, so they can catch up with whatever mistakes that has happened. They can call back to your doctors, they can speak to them, and they can advise you accordingly. Real example, this is somewhere when generic brands and the generic brands are being compared, where people get lost in terms of multiple dosage being consumed, and without knowing for what these combinations are being given, because the different brand names are different, but the API content remains the same. There are few drug-drug interactions which I have just mentioned here. I'll just quickly go through this. So this is what I mentioned to you all. Multiple diabetic medicines might lower your sugar. So this is something which needs to be taken care. Heart medicines, erectile dysfunctioning medicines may give a sudden drop in blood pressure as well. Blood thinner plus painkillers give you severe bleeding. Certain drug food interactions, antibiotics with milk, reduce the effectiveness. Thyroid tablets with morning tea or milk reduces the absorptions. Certain spironolactone, that is your diuretics with excessive coconut water or banana, might increase your potassium risk. So how to make seniors understand? So these are few things which I personally felt that this can be followed. One is use food analog, that is taking 6 medicines is like, having a dal cooked with different types of salts, whereas that different type of salt is not really needed. It spoils the dish, right? Like in the market, we have different types of salts. So we go for health precautions, and we tend to buy variety of salts, and maybe it might not suit everyone, right? So even medicines are also same. We need to be careful with what brands and what actives are present in the kit for us. And show and don't tell. Carrying 10 dummy strips show how morning evening box gets filled. Ask if you miss one. Will you now know which one you have missed? So you have lot of organizers. You can use organizers. Give a take home tool, maybe a medicine list card where you have the name, whether which time you are supposed to take and why are you taking, and doctors. So maybe if you have certain helps, you make sure that you put a sticker on it asking for ask before you take, so that you know, are you taking it overdose or have you taken them earlier, how important it is. Putting a green sticker for making understand it is safe for 3 days, etc. If sir time permits, can I quickly go through a few case studies?
Yeah, go through.
Yeah. So case study, I've just kept it common, which common mistakes which we do. Mrs. Lakshmi, who is 72 years old, she had diabetes. She was having BP, high BP, arthritis. She was prescribed 7 medicines daily by a doctor. Self medication habit, she often used to take extra painkiller because of being diabetic. She had a lot of neurological pains and other body aches. So she herself, listening to her friends, she used to take this NSAIDs and even arthritic pain. Reuse the antibiotics from her old prescriptions. Whenever she had cough or fever, she took herbal supplements recommended by neighbor, believing that they are safe. Now, what were the complications she could observe? So the painkillers, I mentioned to you certain painkillers, herbals with a prescribed blood thinners causing severe stomach bleeding. Antibiotics led to drug resistance and kidney strain. The herbal supplement interfered with the diabetic medicines and dangerously lowered her sugar. Outcome, despite emergency hospitalization, she suffered multiple organ failure and she passed away. Now, there is a learning from this, that is polypharmacy risk, more medicines, higher chance of harmful interactions. Self-medications, I mentioned it's quite danger. Even common tablets or herbal remedies can be deadly when mixed. Doctor consultation is a must. So medicines save lives only when used correctly. Misuse can take lives. So golden rule, never add or stop medicines on your own. Second case is of Mr. Sharma, who is 70 years old. He had COPD, that is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and hypertension. He was prescribed inhalers and a home blood pressure monitor. Now, I have presented here 2 case studies. One is of regular medicines and one is of medical devices. Okay, now medical devices also is been self-medicated by many people. So these are few examples here. He bought an oxygen concentrator after hearing from friends that extra oxygen helps breathing. He used it without medical advice, keeping oxygen flow high for longer hours. He also adjusted his blood pressure medicines based on home readings without consulting his doctors. Complications, continuous high flow oxygen led to carbon dioxide retentions, what we call as hypercapnia, causing confusion and drowsiness. Wrong adjustment of BP medicines caused dangerously low blood pressure, leading to fainting and a fall. He was admitted to the hospital with respiratory failure and head injury. Despite intensive care, he did not survive. So again, lessons are medical devices are powerful tools, but must be used only under medical supervisions. Oxygen therapy is life-saving when prescribed, but harmful if misused. Home BP monitors are for tracking and not for changing medicines on our own. Doctor guidance is essential before starting or adjusting any device or dosage form. So medical devices are like medicines, safe only when used correctly under guidance. So this is the same. I've just put up in an AI form, just a pictorial representation to screen immediate effects so that we understand we need a proper doctor consultation. Do's and don'ts I've already discussed. Take only prescribed medicines, be regular in your medicine review, maintain a medicine list, consult a doctor. Do's and don'ts I've already discussed. Prevention tip, important take-home messages, monthly medicinal box check. This is important to understand whether expiry medicine is still there, being continued. Maintain a medicine diary, regular checkup, responsible for use of right medicine. That's it, audience. I'm here to wind up this. So medicines are valuable tools for improving our health. Self-medication and polypharmacy can increase health risk. Regular medicines reviews help prevent complications. Safe medicines practices protect patients, especially older adults. So that's it from my side. I'm looking forward for certain interactions, or I hope I have given justice for my presentation. I have gone beyond my time, but I was helpless. I had to discuss few topics here.
Hi, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Hi, this is Molly. I just have a question. Thanks
Yes.
for the wonderful presentation, Sarita. So
Yes.
I just have this question on like patients who are living abroad. So this one is more like for patients who are within India.
Yes.
Okay, so if there is a patient, say for example, who is living abroad and who also like has a doctor in abroad and in India, so in that case, should how does the file need to be reviewed then? Should he maintain two files in that case, or like if you can share patients who are running like on holidays or something?
So it's my personal opinion. So I would rather say you have to have a discussion with both the doctors, because both the doctors are treating the same patient. So always I would suggest that, because it's two different regulatory market and the type of medicines, the brands would be different in terms of strengths. So it would always be advised that two doctors are in the same page. Maybe you all can have a common a meeting once in a month or once in 6 months, depending on the intensity of the requirement of the medicines, and then take it forward.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Ma'am, your talk was very informative, at the same time scary also. Sorry to say that.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm not aware of it.
I'm so sorry. I was not supposed to be negative.
No, ma'am, it's correct. We need it. What my thing was related to generic and branded.
Yes.
Somewhere
Yes.
there's this thing. So how safe it? Because sometimes these days concerns are raised. So I just wanted to seek your this thing.
Yeah. So, ma'am, the reason why a generic has come to the market is just to help the Indian citizens in terms of cost effectiveness. So the way the drug gets manufactured, distributed, that cost has been taken care. But yes, many of the doctors, depending on the case to case, depending on the brands, they generally go for the branded drugs. Yes, certain OTC products and all, we can look for generic, but something like with respect to cardiac, which really needs certain quality check, it's again my personal preference. Certain cases can be we can go with the branded ones. But yes, this is just the government support in order to make the mass utilize the right API based medicines.
Thank you.
Can I ask one question? Hello.
Yes.
Doctor, I have two simple questions. One is, if I miss to take the tablet at a particular time, do we skip it for that day or do we take it at any other time? One. And second one, is it safe to keep the tablets in a container where it is written Monday, Tuesday, etc. to remember dosage, or should it be kept in the packaging only?
Okay, so number one, with regard to skipping of your medicine. So again, it depends on what is the type of medicine. Are you taking it for diabetic or are you taking it for a fever? So if there is an emergency need, like as I mentioned to you, the diabetic medicine, which is given as a bilayer tablet, where you need an immediate release and a sustained release. So depending on your dose, sometimes few medicines you can adjust the time. Like say, suppose morning you have skipped. There are certain categories of medicine where if you delay, you can still take. Like for example, say suppose you have forgotten to take at 8. Okay. So your afternoon dose was supposed to be taken at 2. So you can skip it by 1 hour durations. Like instead of 8, you take it at 9, and afternoon you take it at 3 instead of 2. Okay. But taking an double dose and, I showed you that graph. If you overdose, then it would be highly dangerous or at risk.
Second one, to keep the tablets in a container to remember.
Yeah, so container packaging is very, very important, because especially if you look at Mumbai weather, it is highly humid, right? So sometimes what happens, I've seen senior citizens, or sometimes I've seen people keeping their syrups, tablets in the refrigerator also. Okay, even the syrups, I see some people keep it in the refrigerator or near the windows. So the expiry date is 2 years. But if we tend to not close a syrup bottle and keep it near the window, it will crystallize. And because of the sunlight, you're directly exposing it. So important is whatever the storage recommendation is written on the label, that needs to be followed. Okay, so when you're transferring anything to the boxes, you make sure that the boxes are having a good packaging. And you're keeping it in a dry storage, or whatever storage recommendation has been given. Like as I mentioned to you, certain syrups. Okay, syrups, few people just place it on the window, and some people place it even in the refrigeration. Okay, so they generally don't look at the label. Okay, but though the label say 2 years, if you keep it near the window, you're directly exposing it to the sunlight. So your expiry date, instead of 2 years, it has expired within 2-3 days itself, because of strong heat and sun rays. So all these things we have to be very, very careful. When we are replacing it, we make sure that the packaging is taken care, because at pharma we do a lot of evaluation for selecting the right packaging material, so that it is long lasting and durable.
Thank you so much, doctor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome, ma'am.
Hello, doctor.
Yes, ma'am.
See, I keep my medicines in a tablet box, this plastic tablet box you get now, with different compartments. Is it okay to keep it for a week? Because I take about 6-7 tablets a day. At morning, afternoon.
Madam, I would like to suggest here, you keep it for a week and you see whether it absorbs moisture or not. Because there are certain excipient, there are certain materials in a tablet which may tend to absorb moisture. So that's the reason why the tablets are being packed in the strips. So no doubt we give a separate boxes, but few of the tablets remain intact. If you feel that your tablets are remaining intact, continue, there is no problem. But in case if you feel that there is some stickiness or there is a change in color or feel, you immediately stop preserving it, because it depends on brand to brand what type of material they use in their tablet manufacturing.
Okay. And
it's just to observe it for a couple of days and then you take a call, ma'am.
Okay,
because
so 1 week, if it is okay, 1 week is okay, not keep it in a
1 week is, yes, 1 week should be fine.
Okay. And I didn't get you when you said you keep it in a wooden packaging or something. You told
good,
that.
Good.
Yeah, I was wondering because I keep my tablets in a plastic. And one more thing, see, I was trying to get your Zoom link from so many sources. I had seen that there is a a webinar today, but I could not. So I joined only at 5:27 and I found it very good after that. Is it possible to get a recording of this?
Yes, ma'am. I can tell Sen Gupta sir to do the needful.
Yeah, please, because it was really helpful because I'm diabetic, I have blood pressure, I have sleep tablet and a lot of insulin, a lot of other things. So, I really need the
Yeah,
session.
ma'am, I would also suggest you show your container to your doctor, okay,
Yeah.
so that it is well preserved, because you're taking it for multiple conditions. So if you're
Yes.
keeping all the medicines together, certain coating and all might affect. So once you just show it to your doctor that you're preserving it in these containers.
Okay.
Okay,
And
because there are few
you-
medicines which are sensitive to UV light. So they come in a ambered black color bottles and all. So I really do not know what kind of medicines you are taking.
No, I'm taking all in those packets, those silver
Okay.
foil packet. Nothing comes
Yes.
from the bottle. So it's okay, no? Because otherwise I tend to forget because 3 times a day different medicines.
Yes.
So this becomes easier to remember.
True.
So
Yes.
you won't forget to send the recording, isn't it?
Yeah,
Doctor?
I have made a note. I will definitely share it with
Thank you. I found the remainder from 5:25. I attended. I found it really good and useful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Doctor.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Doctor. I'm at Vapi, but only one thing, sometimes we forget and we start taking the old medicine. See, there are 2-3 doctors giving the prescription, forget it. So what happened is the routine, what you said was proactive approach is very correct and appreciate. And I enjoyed this session. Thank you so much. Well, only thing was certain times, certain nerve problem comes. Last minute comes, I have to take an emergency tablet. Like something doesn't work and I'm not able to take. Then by taking that one tablet, it solves me for the next 2-3 days. Like, is it okay?
So, yeah. So when you're
doctor.
keeping that emergency tablet, you please ask your doctor this dose and this is what. So they give you an SOS, like, when it is needed. So they themselves, they will prescribe you.
Yes.
So fix on that, because he would be the better person to evaluate your condition and guide you on that, so that you can keep an extra with you, so that during emergency.
Fair, huh?
Yes.
Because when we are traveling, we don't have the doctor around, so we are looking into a new pharmacy shop. It's better to have the correct doses.
So, sir, I would like to tell you, when you're planning any trip, do meet your doctor before you travel anywhere. Try to understand the place where you're visiting, what is the weather conditions, because what happens is, if you're diabetic also, the weather condition really matters. Sometimes the sugars goes out of control. So you're using your regular medicines, the weather conditions, the type of activity, what you're doing, because when you go to a cold region, you tend to lower your activity, right? So all this really impacts. So you really need to be prepared. You got to sit with your doctor for a session to understand which place you're going, what are the possibilities of lowering the activities, how you can improve your activities, so that your medicines are in alternate conditions, are being taken care.
Very right. Truly said. Very nice.
Yes.
Thank you, doctor.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We'll take one more question if some question is there. Okay, if there's no other question, then we say thank you very much, Dr. Sarita. It was an outstanding, brilliant session. It threw a lot of lights.
Thank you, sir.
Great to have you with us. And thank you, everybody, for being over here. So goodbye and good night. Thanks a lot. See you again, Dr. Sarita.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity.